Hello and welcome to Learn to Wargame. We are a wargaming and hobby-based gaming group, and our goal is to bring you instructional videos, podcasts, and articles on everything from modeling and painting to playing and sportsmanship. Our goal is to help people in the beginner to intermediate range help improve on any aspects of wargaming and hobbying. Firstly, we'll be focused on bringing you high-quality videos on nice-looking scenery and terrain with fully painted armies, and discussing strategy and tactics during games. Secondly, we'll be bringing and releasing podcasts on a list building and list pairing in multi-list formats, as well as discussing matchups and list selection. Finally, we'll be releasing painting and modeling videos and articles for beginners to intermediates. Please tune in and check us out. Thank you. Welcome to the first installment of the Learn to Wargame audio podcast. Today we'll be doing a dojo for Lylyth 1 and an arbor breaking style list. Starting with introductions, I am Brandon, or PG Mutilus on the forums.
I'm Max, and I lurk on the forums.
Fair enough.
I'm Jayson, and I lurk as well.
I'm Jeremy, and I hear they have forums.
They do sometimes have those forums. Okay.
I'm not sure.
So as I said earlier, today we're going to be doing a dojo episode for Lylyth 1. The concept is basically we have our current noob of Jayson, who has been new to the game in the last probably 6 months, and he wants to build a Lylyth 1 list that specializes in breaking armor. And that's probably going to be his 2-list pairing for most tournaments. So what we've done is we have had Jayson make a list, and all of us have independently also made a list, and we're going to go around the table and share our lists and kind of decide what different ideas we can kind of meld into Jayson's list. All right, so Jayson, why don't you go ahead and start with why you picked Lylyth 1 and what your list contains.
I picked Lylyth 1. Well, I own the model.
That's a good start.
And
It's fine.
I feel like she just can.
She provides the biggest armor swing.
She provides the biggest armor swing, and it's not just to one unit. It's to.
So she has a global debuff for armor, which is a good tool to have when that's your primary goal.
Her entire army instead of giving +2 to one unit and having to hot swap it all.
Yeah, usually Thagrosh 1 is the obvious armor break list because of Draconic. But
put it on 1, and if you want it on 2, you have to swap it.
Right, so.
Which is fine, but.
This way you can just kind of point your finger and kill things.
Yeah, and I'm lazy.
And
new, and I forget everything, and
okay. Yeah, just for the record, Jayson is a big fan of taking an 11-point Scythian for spiny growth and not casting it literally the entire game.
Well, no, because I wait for somebody to kill it.
That's true. Once they've killed it, you'll feed it back with Thagrosh 1, and then spiny growth Thagrosh, and let the Carnivian die again.
Hey.
You do know that Thagrosh casts this for free every turn.
Which I don't use it.
Okay, Jayson, why don't you go ahead and run us through your list?
Hold on. Okay, so my list was, is Lylyth, Scythian, Shredder, Ravagore, then a Shepherd, Black Frost Shard, 2 units of War Spirit with UA on both. That's it.
Okay. So what do you think is good in this list and synergizes well with Lylyth?
The Scythian.
The Scythians do well with, obviously, Parasite.
And Black Frost Shard.
So you're effectively getting a Scythian to POW 22. It's pretty handy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I actually played this one against Stormwall. And,
interesting.
The War Spirit I used as a screen, 20 points.
Well,
which they are really good at.
To be fair, sometimes an Arcane Shield of Stormwall can get you not playing with the correct mindset.
He didn't have Arcane Shield up.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you have any major regrets about that game?
I do. Yeah.
Getting shot by Stormwall.
Maybe just simply allowing your opponent to shoot your caster to death is a bad thing.
I didn't simply allow. Okay, I might have simply allowed.
Well, you kept lots of transfers, of course.
Yeah, you know what? I did have transfers for one. So the one time I actually keep 3 transfers, there's supposed to be 3 inches of forest, but for some reason, I've been told Epic Haley that she can move shit 2 inches farther than it's supposed to.
Okay, so you weren't expecting to be able to be shot.
I was expecting 3 inches of forest, and I got 1, and you're expecting 3 and you get 1. So
all right. Okay, so So obviously the need some work on the positioning part, or at least knowing how forests work. Anyway, so you like which part specifically of your list other than the Scythians?
I originally liked the War Spears because going into it, I thought that they were the only ones that could. When I was actually playing the game, sat down, I thought they were the only ones because of volume of attack that could kill the Stormwall. But after the fact, I went a Scythian almost.
Okay.
And having two of those, I don't know. I just could have done a lot different.
Well, less specific about that game, but just your thoughts on the list in general.
Oh.
So Scythian's good, War Spear's not as good. Is that your concept at the moment? So no, War Spears with Thagrosh 1 are kind of always the answer. So
they are. I think they're good in this list, but you don't need two of them.
All right, Max, why don't you go and run us through your list?
All right. I started off with Lylyth, the Herald of Everblight. Naga Nightlurker for the Animus of Wraithbane. 2 Scythians. 1 Shepherd. This is where I deviated. I got Wrong Eye and Snapjaw. Never seen that played, Legion. But you know what? Hard to shoot. Hard to shoot.
Tis
Definitely
that.
hard to shoot.
Yeah.
I put in 2 Strider Deathstalkers for spot removal of infantry, whatever. They just kill things. I put in Fayon of the Lash for more spot removal, mainly because she can do it from melee, from a 4-inch reach standpoint. The Striders can't really shoot the melee consistently. And I had 3 points. Black Frost Shard for the +2 for the Kiss of Liliths. And then 1 unit of 4 Spears with the attachment with the Swamp Gubbers. Bellows Crew pulling up the rear. I don't know, it's basically the same idea as Jayson's list. The biggest thing's gonna be, can you deliver the side wing? But for backup in this list, you have Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, and Snapjaw will get there against most everything. He doesn't really have the 1-round potential because you can only give him the +5 swing, you can't give him the Wraithbane. If you're talking Stormwall killing, he's not going to do it, but he's an easily deliverable heavy.
If there's one thing about Snapjaw, it's that he gets there usually, so.
Yeah. So he'll at least get his turn of killing what you want him to kill. Otherwise, you have your Scythians and Snapjaw plus the 1 unit of War Spears as your meat of the list, and that's what's able to kill hard armor targets. Anything beyond that is just support to remove things that are in the way.
All right.
That's pretty much all I got. I don't play Legion.
That's a good point to make, is obviously we're just kind of group thinking it. We made all these lists independent of each other for the most part. So we wanted to get different points of view, and I think sometimes a new outlook on a faction is better, because you'll remember things that you forget as you start assuming units can only do one thing. All right, moving on to my list. Obviously, Lylyth, Herald of Everblight is the Warlock. I took a Succubus, 2 Scythians, a Naga Nightlurker, 2 Blighted Nis Shepherds, the Black Frost Shard, a full unit of Blighted Nis Swordsmen with unit attachment, a full unit of Blighted Ogre and War Spears with the War Spear Chieftain UA, and a Spawning Vessel full. So the concept with this was the Succubus can easily hand out, obviously, the Wraithbane Animus to help Lylyth keep all of her fury for casting a Parasite and also being able to boost all of her various shots. The Black Frost Shard, obviously, for the harm, as pretty much all of us have decided is pretty much the best 5 points if you're looking to break armor. I put in the Blighted Nis Swordsman as kind of a screen unit, but also if your opponent has not a good way to deal with decent defense troops across from them, they can actually hit pretty hard with all the armor debuffs in this list. The War Spears are a nice flanking unit because they're very independent and they can operate completely independent of everything in here. Also, they can focus down, a nice crunchy unit like Warders or Shock Troopers. The Spawning Vessel is just good because it gives her the utility of bringing in Tenacity or True Strike if she really needs it. But I think this list is pretty good. I do feel like the one negative would be is if they could easily isolate and take out the Scythians at range, which would be pretty hard, but obviously it doesn't really have any way to answer that. But I do agree. I think the Wraithbane Animus is nice, because if you're worried about breaking armor, you're probably worried about armor skew specifically, and almost every armor skew list has some kind of armor buff that you'll be able to get around with that. So, Jeremy, what was in your list?
I know Legion has Shredders.
Yeah, we also know that, Jeremy.
And War Spears. That's what came in the box.
Okay, so Jeremy has built his list apparently solely off of models that come out of the 2-player starter. And hopefully just the Legion side.
Some other big one that has like
spikes and
2
Archangel?
hands.
Yes, he actually has 4 hands.
Right, but those are...
We don't count little people hands, yeah.
Right.
Would you like to share your list, or just that you know those models exist?
So, Lylyth and 22 shredders. What else do you need?
They do
Okay.
charge for free.
They will charge for free. Lylyth and 22 Shepherd. They're shredders.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Bold move,
Let's see how
Cotton.
it plays out.
Alright, you might have to go to instant replay on that one. Alright. Okay, Jayson, what did you think of the various ideas? Obviously, the 22 Shredder idea is probably going to be the strong front runner, but...
Right.
Yeah.
If you take that one out, just to make it fair for everybody else. I think they have good points too. I was obviously missing a screen, so I was using 20 points.
Hey, sometimes you take a 20-point
But,
screen.
I mean, it worked. Because, in this specific game that I played, it worked. Because the only thing that could drop.
Okay. That is true. Like, in Signar-specific matchups, unless you're
Yeah.
looking at Siege, basically,
So-
they have very limited ability to take out medium-based troops in mass.
Yeah, in a more general sense, though, I think obviously having the Naga in there is a good thing, and then having some sort of screen in there.
I don't know that he's needed, but he's
The Naga?
only 5 points, so he's probably worth it.
Definitely not required, but for the cost for opportunity, I think it's
Because
probably
I feel
worth
like the only there's like a couple of things you would see where he's actually useful. You'd see him against somebody playing the Defender's Warded Avatar or basically
Tiberian.
Stormwall. Yeah, you could see it on Tiberian too. I don't know that there's a whole lot of other situations where it's that useful. So it may be that it's not the 5 points you're looking for, but I don't know. It's all something you'd have to test.
All right, so Jayson, so of the variety of opinions we have here, what do you think? Obviously, it's more about what you prefer to play with, because obviously everyone has a play style, but what do you think of the things we have here that you would add to your list, and what would you drop for them?
As far as comfort and what I've actually played, I've played the Swordsman. I like them a lot.
Do you think that's something we want to throw in right here? We'll just kind of keep a running list here.
So as far as from the list that I have, I would drop the Ravagore, Shredder to get those in.
So what do you have in your battle group at the moment, then?
If I drop those two,
Mm-hmm.
it would be 2 Scythians.
Simply 2 Scythians?
Well, yeah, because my original list was actually just Lylyth, 2 Scythians, Blackfrost Shard, 2 Shepherds, and a Warfare, and missing points. So I just threw in random things.
Okay. That's acceptable. And sometimes you just gotta mash things together and see what works.
Right. So, but I also like the idea of Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, but with that, I've never played them.
Never play them, never seen them play, probably.
And being a new player, like as far as, adding minions or mercs to any list, I don't know what they do.
Yeah, pretty much every new player starts off as a faction purist, and then as they see things kick their ass, they're like, I want that in my army.
Right.
Alright, so right now we got Lylyth, 2 Scythians, full Swordsman, and Blackfrost Shard.
Throw in the Naga.
Go ahead and throw in the Naga in the battle group.
Not gonna work here.
Naga not gonna work in this list. Alright, so what else you thinking? This is where you draw blanks.
This is where I draw a blank.
Well, we've got...
At 39 points.
Yeah, we got
39 points.
39 points, so we've got, what is that, 17 left?
And that's with the Swordsman?
Yeah, but you don't have,
That's
you don't have
War
any
Spears.
War Spears. Did you
Yeah,
roll
there's
at
no
least
War
one of
Spears in here
those?
at the moment.
One War Spear.
Yeah, so let's throw in the War Spear, see what your list looks like.
So that takes you to 49. You're looking at 7 points. One thing that's missing from that list is your Fury Management currently.
So I do kind of like what he had, because you can throw in the Cloud Gobbers for 1 point. That kind of keeps her safer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's probably something you don't currently have. But
I do.
oh, you do have the Gobbers?
Yeah.
What happened to the Faction Purist crap you were just talking about?
Well, see, the thing is like, I bought those,
Uh-huh.
and they, like, I actually bought them when I got Legion. Like, I bought random stuff, and then, I just never used.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about maybe getting rid of the Naga to save a couple points and throwing in the Thrall to get rid of those upkeeps that protect your opponent's stuff?
Gonna take waste of 3 points for
Hey, you
100, Alex.
you saved 2 points.
Well,
Hey, I'm not saying anything here, but 2 points is 2 points.
gonna
Like,
say-
you could pick up almost a whole second
If
Thrall
you're-
for that 2 points.
okay, if you drop the Naga, what does that,
I-
how many points do you
I'm just kidding.
have? No, I'm not talking
If we do drop the Naga, that will give you
13 points.
10 points.
10.
So I had the Vessel in my list because I thought the ability to spawn the Lessers was good.
Okay. I don't know that she needs any of those anuses in that. Like,
Tenacity's not necessarily required, but it does...
Tenacity's definitely not. But I feel like, yeah, True Strike can be super useful in certain situations, but...
But the thing is True Strike in this one, if you really need a hit...
I feel like...
That's true. We haven't actually talked about Lylyth at all first. Let's go ahead and run through her stuff.
Lilith's... Oh, I can't...
Lilith's?
Lilith. Using her feet, I feel like there needs to be some guts. I mean, obviously it doesn't only work for guts. It works for any attack. But, that's why I like the Deathstalkers in there, because they're...
Deathstalkers would be interesting. They help clear up some of the chaff.
4 models a turn, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of the Widowmaker concept, is like they print money every turn, you might as well put them in there.
Yeah.
We are looking at currently 5 points, though, so I mean...
5 points after Deathstalkers? Or?
No. 5 points. We currently have full War Spears, full Swordsman, 2 Scythians, Naga, and 2 Shepherds.
So if you throw in Deathstalkers...
So if we throw in Deathstalkers, we'd have 1 point. So options we had talked about, Swamp Gobbers, the Spawning Vessel, Deathstalkers.
A Deathstalker and Spawning Vessel.
Do Deathstalker and Spawning Vessel would be bad. We could do Min Spawning Vessel, Stalker, and that'd leave us 1 point. The Succubus isn't really required, especially if the Naga could just simply cast the Animus himself.
That's the only thing is, I feel like you're not going to need 2 of those Animuses ever, and the Naga will just do his Animus for you.
The one good thing I saw about it is it does let you upkeep a spell for free, so if you do land Parasite and fail to kill something, or just don't feel you have the opportunity, like you fail to clear out their jam, and you just can't get there that turn, you just upkeep it for free next turn and back off, or maybe put Bad Blood on one of their War Beasts, so you kind of just pick away at them over the course of the game with Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Eruption of Spines also isn't bad to kind of just throw in and clear out some dudes, so sometimes the free upkeep or casting the Animus for free might help a little. That would allow the Naga to shoot more, but I mean, it is 2 points for maybe 1 Fury. Looking through here, we might throw in some Spell Martyrs.
Yeah, and I thought about that originally, but because she has range extension, correct?
Yeah.
No, that's a little too...
No, she just has blood. She has Witch Mark, so she casts at range 12. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and run through what she does real quick. She's obviously Pathfinder, Eyeless Sight, Rat 7, Fire 2, Magical Gun. She hits a model with her gun. She can cast spells at that model, ignoring range and line of sight, and automatically hit. If she hits a model with her gun, she can also allow her War Beast in her battle group to charge it for free.
The Spell Martyr is not completely worthless, because if you're talking about parasiting a hard target, she can parasite and hit a Storm Wall through a Spell Martyr. I mean, there's things she can hit, but Fury 5, it makes her very limited, because you're basically talking about increasing the range of Parasite to around 19 inches if you're using base widths. Not needed, but if you only have a point left and you've already got the Bellows Crew in, it's not an awful choice.
I generally agree. Other possibilities running through here. Covered most of the bases for things you might want to actually put in. We're obviously beyond the Wrong Eye Snapshot point. Although I do like the concept of almost a guaranteeable delivery heavy. The only problem would be melee threat that you can't stop with other things. But with Eruption of Spines, you should be able to clear out most of the infantry.
But if you Eruption, then there's a problem. Because you can't Parasite.
That's true. Not in 1 turn.
That's why I like the Deathstalkers. If you're going to take Wrong Eye or something like that, you need something that's going to clear them off. Which was the idea behind having Bayana in there too, because you have a Mat 8 solo, I believe. With the 4-inch reach. No, she's only Mat 7.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was pretty sure she was a 7. She does have Rapid Strike, though.
Feet turn.
That's how it
happens.
Yeah. And also, feet turning, I mean, she can hit pretty much anybody with
it also
Parasite.
gives you a flanking force with your beast, because, only control 10, she can only have her stuff in such an area, whereas Wrong Eye can be over here.
Shepherds help a little, but yeah.
They do. But, I don't know.
Alright, so what do you think, Jason?
Not saying he's wrong or right, but I've never seen anybody play him, so it's probably wrong.
I do actually like that in this list. That is something I never would have thought of to throw in here. Wrong Eye Snapshot. I mean, but that's kind of the outside-the-box thinking we're looking for. Something that you don't see people do, or else you'd have an obvious choice.
2 Thrones of Everblight.
2 Thrones, 5 points. That'd be pretty good. Yeah. Is there anything you'd consider dropping for maybe something else at this point?
I don't know. I like the Lylyth with the having the Deathstalkers in it, and the Swordsman to screen the Swamp Gobbers to kind of throw up smoke for her. But I also like the idea of Wrong Eye Snapshot. But kind of like
it's something you'd have to see in practice, though. I mean,
Definitely.
Because it's like, she does only have a 10-inch bubble.
There's a lot
or
of things.
20-inch bubble, so
Well,
it has to be within.
but with the shepherds, it does alleviate
it's not
the
a big
pressure.
deal.
But I mean, you do need to be able to keep them safe when you're
He's
thinking
also,
about that.
before we started, he made a comment about how he feels like he loses a lot of his fury management before it becomes relevant in the game.
Yeah, because
so then they're not really doing it.
Right.
Yeah, because everybody has that one thing like the Deathstalker that they're like, okay, well,
This is my solo hunter. Yeah.
I will kill your support. And the thing is if you're trying to extend what I found is that when I'm trying to extend any of my beasts beyond my control range, they just shoot the shepherd and the beast is worth it.
Yeah.
Forces. And
do you think that might be a problem with positioning or a problem with?
Yeah, I think it's both because obviously being new, I'm terrible at positioning. Yeah, but there's always the thing that people can just shoot them. Yeah, I could put them behind the beast, but they can only be 3 inches away from me. If you're running in,
that's
we're talking
when
about
you
using
do
herding.
it. Yeah, with using herding, it's like 8-inch range, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're command 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're command. So 8 inches. When you're running up, there's a lot of stuff that can just pick you up.
Yeah, but I mean, to be within that range, that means that, most of your army should have threat to them, because if they're 8 inches back from where your beast is.
And I feel like and the other thing is like, even if you do position correctly, getting up the board, you go in, you go balls deep. What if you fail to kill?
Mm-hmm.
They kill your shepherds, then you're fucked. In a sense. Because then you have to get Lylyth up there to finish it, and then...
If you fail to kill with this list, you're kind of fucked.
If you put all your eggs in the basket of, I'm going to build a list that doesn't have to worry so much about armor, and you fight against someone with armor, and you run up and you do absolutely nothing, I don't think it matters if you have shepherds at the end of the turn, because you won't have beasts. I mean, most lists you're probably worried about catching in this list net, basically, would be either bricks or things with particularly hard targets mixed into a normal list.
Right.
Like the Arcane Shield Stormwall, like the Tiberian with Defender's Ward, Avatar with Defender's Ward, Arcane Shield on a Centurion. Like, you need to be able to solve those problems, and with standard Legion lists, usually you don't.
Yeah, which is what I found, like, anytime there's high armor, I just...
I do feel like the most common out of all of those, though, is the Stormwall.
Right, the Stormwall you will see in almost every single matchup.
The other side of it is dealing with the mainly medium-based troop infantry, heavy armor skews, whether it's a man of war or trolls.
The warders you're going to see a lot of, which is
warders are going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, the standard arm 21, 8 wounds with tough is going to be pretty rough for your standard POW 17 heavy.
And that's where Scythians ignore tough.
Right,
that's
exactly.
a helpful thing. And wiping out a unit's actually not impossible against, it is because they can't reach them all, but you kill 3 to 4 with correct placement.
Mm-hmm.
And their incorrect placement.
It does help that a lot of shield wall units obviously bunch up for the shield wall benefit.
That's one of the great things about warders, is they don't have a requirement of defensive line or shield wall. They're just that fucking hard to kill.
Yeah, when they put 2 in front, 3 in back, it's hard to not get charged. Yeah.
And they can limit how many you can kill. They should be able to limit you to 2 with the Scythian. Like, you get more than that, they've probably made a mistake.
That is where something like the War Spheres come in handy, because they can dig a little deeper with multiple model placements and things. But...
And they do have volume of attacks.
Okay, so at this point, let's think about this then. For your standard matchup, thinking about all the things we just talked about you want to cover, you've got 2 heavies, a light as a buff, a couple pieces of support staff, a general swarm unit with the swordsman. They hit hard, but their idea is to get as many guys there as they can through all the incoming fire. And then the War Spears is kind of a tougher unit, with the Black Frost being more support. So, of that stuff, do you think you need to go more armor cracking, or do you think you need to go more generalist?
My only problem with that list is almost 0 range. I mean, you have War Spear throws. That's literally pretty much it besides Lylyth. It's not necessarily a problem. I don't know.
That's why I have the Ravagor in there on my list, is because, and then the other thing is when I was running, or when I was actually playing the list, I just had the Shepherd stay next to the Ravagor, and he could just sit there, aim, shoot,
Typical JVM style.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Boost, and then it just shoots anything that's coming at Lylyth and the side ends, and it just shoots through, over her, between them. It drops the scaler, and then they,
it's a little bit of board control mixed with some attrition.
Yeah. And so it just moves up a little bit behind them, keeps the shepherd from getting shot off the table and ruining my week, and then takes a little bit of pressure off of Lylyth.
With this right now, though, unless your Scythians are obviously stuck in melee repeated rounds, which is unlikely because they're Scythians and they'll probably just die. But you probably shouldn't run into too many Fury issues. I think that's one of the best parts of the list. You'll have that one turn where you go kind of balls to the wall.
And see, the thing is getting this list to...
Even balls to the wall on that list.
Yeah, you're only... You
got
a max generation of 11.
Right.
Especially if one of your beasts dies,
there's two Scythians.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you position correctly, you probably can condition one of them too.
Exactly.
And then there's only max of 7 Fury on the board, so...
And you just have the Naga make the command and make the threshold check, and worst case scenario, it eats a swordsman. It doesn't seem that bad. It's not like your Lylyth 2s and your Veils and your Sarens that's going to have 25 Fury on the table. The best part is all your support, all they do is buff your damage. So...
Right. I don't know, I like it with the Scythians, the Naga, the 2 Shepherds, the Striders.
One thing we didn't talk about, probably not a good option, but there's always the option of paying the 8-point slipstream tax to get the 13-inch threat on the Scythians, which does make a difference because then at that point they're out-threading most things in the game that doesn't have a dedicated movement trick built into their list.
Just trying to think, is there anything else that extends their threat range? I don't think there is.
There isn't. They don't have access to
Hunter's Mark,
or anything like that, any Hunter's Mark type of stuff. I pretty much think 13's about as far as you can get with Scythians. I mean, obviously you can go Angelius, but the Angelius it's not bad.
It's good
list.
for
it really isn't
burst,
because
but it
if it hits all its attacks. It doesn't one round the storm wall, but even with the up to 8-point swing, but it's in the 50s, I believe.
You'd have to
so it nearly cripples.
I don't know. If you're not missing, I think it was around 48 or 50. I can't remember.
So let's see. Let's just do the math real quick. So, assuming it's going to be a base 19, your dice off 5, you end up being dice, but the halving. So you start at dice plus 4.
Well,
we're assuming you ignore Arcane Shield.
Right. You basically get to power 19, and then you ignore the armor buff. So it's straight dice damage. You cut it in half, which makes it 10. It's dice plus 9.
Okay, so you start off at 14 to a 19. It halves to a 10. You end up at plus 4. Harm is plus 6, and then Parasite plus 9. So your charge attack should do... You're going to roll a 10.5 plus 9, 19.5 damage on your charge attack.
And then it's straight dice afterwards.
Right. So you're going to charge for free. So you should have 4 Fury left if you're using the feat, because your feat's going to put you at a 99% hit, 99% hit chance with 3 dice.
So you should hit all 5 attacks.
Yeah. So then you're going to buy 4, but
you're looking at 7 apiece, which is 28. So
it's going to be straight dice. Yeah.
So you would have to get 2 there.
Right, but you can't. I don't know. You can never. Having something that can 1 round and something that does 1 round, I guess it's not. Having something that can 1 round is one thing. You're almost never going to get to the perfect setup where you do get to actually send that one thing in and it actually does the 1 round. The Blighted Ogre and War Spears, if they hit everything, do 80 damage on average if they're prayed onto the storm wall or whatever. But are you actually going to get all of them there? Target selection is a big thing for who you're playing against, and they have to know what can do what. That's why if you have the War Spears, if you have the Swordsmen, because the Swordsmen are actually not a bad choice, because if they get there, they're Power 12 Weapon Masters, they will do damage.
I believe they're 11s. They're 11s.
Whatever.
11.
So, yeah, same.
But if they get there with Parasite and
the Kiss Up,
they're only dice minus a few.
16.
Yeah. Rolling 4 dice adds up quick.
So I do think the idea if you're going to play a screen unit Swordsman is probably the way to go. They also have the added ability if to clear out a lot of infantry.
Yeah,
if you can keep the Abbot alive, on the feet turn,
The
because they
aim-
will hit everything. Put 48
49.
damage on it. You for damn sure better be able to put 8 incidental damage on the piece of
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, if only from Lylyth shooting it twice, like
shit. So,
it should
and
be
that's,
pretty
that's
easy.
one of the interesting
Because-
things, because you could
Well, would
definitely put
archers
angels
and
in.
the UA be good at that point?
That's a lot of points, and the problem against that is, like, if you're specifically looking at, like, the Stormwall problem of this one huge thing, then they're probably going to be able to kill the archers. Like,
What about Strider?
Archers
The
are just...
stealth that can get them.
stealth helps a lot, but, I mean, Signar's the faction pretty much to ignore stealth.
Short
So,
unit. Well, they don't ignore stealth.
I don't-
Gun mages ignore stealth.
right.
Yes.
And
but you can also
Electroleaves.
counter... Right.
hmm
But you can also counter deploy, even if they deploy across from you. You running 14 inches this way with the Striders gets the gun mages out of the way. But at the same time, I don't know. Striders don't give you enough volume of attacks, and actually, I mean, they would give you the CRA option on the feet turn.
hmm
But
So, Jason.
I would think, honestly, instead of buying Striders, I personally would buy 2 Deathstalkers. Because
I-
just thinking on the feet turn, it's cheaper,
Um,
and I can guarantee 4 damage on the feet turn.
Well, so based on my question, Jason, is how do you want to spend the last 5 points? Or do you want to redesign? I feel like we're kind of getting off topic. Well, we are talking about good points, but I mean,
Right.
we can decide what the list should have in it. We want to know what you think is best.
I think with the list, the last 5 points, I think the best 5 points would be the Deathstalkers. 2 Deathstalkers and,
You think Spell Martyr or Gobbers?
yeah.
Are Gobbers in there already or no?
They are
Yeah.
currently not.
I think Gobbers are better.
Yeah.
If she's going to be getting up far enough, or maybe
Right. because
the concept might be if she sits still and does something one turn, they move into her threat range of 12, which is unlikely in general, but
Yeah.
it can happen, especially if they're playing a blitz list like a brick that just has to come at you.
Yeah.
Because then she can shoot, do her stuff, and bushwhack. So she'll actually move after the spell, and she'll be at the safe spot. But that only works against people that have to come at you.
What
I-
about,
Which what you're building this list for
It's gonna
kind of
happen.
happens.
Right, exactly.
With the
So
exception of like the Signar list.
because this specifically is meant to design to beat bricks, commonly people will walk at you with this list.
Right.
But like we said, there are the opposites where it's like they want to sit back, they just use their high armor to attrition. Go ahead, Jeremy.
what about the Thog?
We actually covered that. We think it's a value add to the army. In fact, you could almost fit 2 with the points we have remaining.
Well, see, the thing is tight budget can't do it.
Tight budget can't buy 2 throwers.
All the money in the world can't buy it.
Oddly, they're out of stock everywhere because they know you don't
They
want
are.
them.
That's my local gaming store. They're always out of stock.
Okay, so let's throw in these. So you think the Striders, and do
Store.
you think that the Spell Martyr or the Swamp Bellows crew?
I think the Bellows crew would probably be better because the Spell Martyr,
More overall use.
I don't disagree. I mean, it is helpful.
it can get you.
Except for in that nasty Legion matchup where they made that shit.
Yeah, the mirror match.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fucking Legion.
Well, to be fair, in the mirror match, you should basically one-shot all of their beasts because
Yeah,
they'll be
that's
armed
true.
17
Yeah, that's true.
if you could hit them. Oh wait, you have the feet.
Right, you have the feet.
It'd actually be interesting. We will actually talk about that in our next segment. So our final list that we have at the moment, unless he changes his mind in the next 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, no. All right.
That was greasing.
We have different concepts of time. All right. Lylyth 1, the Herald of Everblight. 2 Scythians, 1 Naga Nightlurker, 2 Blightedness Shepherds, 2 Strider Deathstalkers, 1 full unit with UA of Blightedness Swordsmen, the Blackfrost Shard, a full unit of Blighted Ogren Warspears and the Warspear Chieftain, and a unit of Swamp Gobbers Bellows crew. Okay? Written in stone, cannot be changed. So let's go ahead and move on to our next segment, which is we will talk about possible matchups you may face and decide if we think it's a good or a bad matchup for you. So you can kind of get your list selection out of the way now.
Cool.
Okay. So starting off, we'll go caster by caster on what we think are probably the most cookie cutter list pairings you'll see, and we'll say good or bad matchup. We have 2 categories for each one, which is kill box scenario and non-kill box scenario, because oddly, like P-Sevi is an entirely different game when he has to stand in the middle of the table.
Right.
So starting off, we of course go Signar. Haley 2.
I can tell you it's bad.
It is bad. Well, that is, in fact, the only time you played the first version of this list. And apparently Tempest Blazers shoot people in faces.
No, apparently Tempest Blazers are just
Cheating.
dicks.
Yeah. We're not fans of Tempest Blazers when we don't get to play them. Okay, so Haley 2, probably with a storm wall, gun mages, typical things of that sort.
I don't know. I actually didn't. I feel, looking back on it, I don't feel that I was at a huge disadvantage. I don't think it was a bad matchup. I think just positioning. My positioning was really bad. His was actually decent. And the Tempest Blazers, he ran them all the way up the side of the board. I ignored him.
Extreme flanking maneuver.
Right. Which, and one of my things is in the beginning, I don't spread out the War Spirit far enough. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you said, they can up by themselves.
But you put them in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, they're your screen unit, so.
Well, yeah. They were my 20 points of screening, so I could have, just used 10 and then counter deployed against the, Blazers. And I also felt that, if I had gone first instead of second, I would have been at it, obviously.
So maybe as far as positioning goes, you probably need to practice unpacking your army better and get into to fighting mode a little bit quicker.
Right.
Okay. So Haley 2, obviously there's very few casters that enjoy that matchup. So we're going to put you into the playable but not preferable.
No, it's never preferable.
Right. It's obviously not. So that's in standard. What do you think about in Killbox?
Killbox?
Killbox scenarios.
I
do keep in mind of her temporal acceleration and
Well, see, the thing is with this list, I think Lylyth has to get up there anyways to get Parasite on something.
I don't disagree. I think most of these are going to be pretty much the same.
And against the Stormwall, I mean, he can just sit there and shoot. Yeah.
To bring a good point, though, this isn't specifically one of the bad Killbox scenarios, but against heavy bricks like Troll, maximum armor skew, walking at you. They have to walk at you 3 turns in a row versus 1. I mean, kind of changes the point of view.
Right.
So this list probably not, because both of you are stand in the middle of the board and kill each other list, as opposed to you want to stay as far away from everything you see as possible until you have to.
That and I'll just find a wall in the middle of the table and be defense fine. Mm-hmm. Or the wall, play the Stormwall.
That sounds good.
Hang out.
Until you get TK'd away from the wall and turn around backwards and they shoot you in the back.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. No one does that.
No one does that.
Alright, so Killbox scenario, same. Playable, not preferable.
Screen right behind me.
Okay, so moving on to our next caster, still Signar list pairing, Kane 2.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
This is definitely a game where we're happy we have Swamp Gobbers.
Right. And I'm not. Actually, you know what? I'll like Signar.
I don't think you do like Signar.
Yeah,
I mean, for the faction that's commonly known as the low armor, high defense faction, I mean, you probably shouldn't like Signar. That's exactly what they like to fight against.
Right. Kane 2.
I think this one is actually probably worse for you, just because he can remove
everything.
Well, he can at least feat to remove a Scythian, most likely. It's pretty unlikely you'll be able to stop that, let alone if he just gets the other one dead off of, just attrition. That could leave you into a really bad spot. And there's probably nothing in his list you want to break armor against.
Right.
So, because he doesn't fuel the storm wall well enough usually to take it. So you're just going to see 1 billion troops.
Yeah, I don't know if I would actually play this list against, because the couple times that I played Kane, it's like you said, he didn't have a lot of armor to crack in the first place. He just had a lot of guys, a lot of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and the danger is with him is he's one of those people that can just shoot.
Can just end the game after one mistake.
Shoot your support off the table.
No, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Kill all your heavies. He kills all your support, and you're relying on Lylyth and 2 Scythians in a 20-inch bubble. You feel all alone.
Okay, so we've got a bad matchup as Kane 2. I generally agree with that. Probably just slightly worse than Haley, but bad.
And Killbox and Paul.
Yeah, Killbox would be even worse against him than Haley, I think.
I don't.
What do you think?
I don't think she has a good matchup against most Signar casters you'll see.
Except for maybe Darius, possibly. If you see Darius.
You'll see. Being the key.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in theory, we don't expect to see it, but there are possible matchups in Signar you'll like, but not in general.
It won't be Haley 2, Kane 2, Siege. None of those are good.
Bring up our next caster, Striker 2.
That's actually doable.
Striker's a dick. All right.
But as far as Signar goes,
as far as this list,
Signar caster that I have stuck it to.
Okay, fair enough. So, what do you think about this list pairing?
Well, I don't think it's bad.
You do tend to see more melee troops,
right?
So your Death Stalkers will make a lot of work in that list because you usually see dwarves, Stormblades, couple jacks, maybe.
I think
you usually see some gun mages. Obviously,
I think there's a good chance of being outnumbered.
Yes, well, you're Legion, so that's almost every single matchup in the game,
Yeah.
except for double Stormwall. So
I don't think it would be that bad.
I don't think it'd be as bad as
It
you
wouldn't
think.
be great. Yeah, it wouldn't be great, but I don't think it would be bad.
If you could manage to knock Striker down somehow, you actually would probably have a pretty good shot at killing him over almost every Legion list I can think of.
So you can get Rake.
Get a Rake, just headbutt. No one knows what Rakes do anyway.
Right.
So we're actually going to put this in the good.
Okay.
With the parentheses, as good as it gets against Signar.
Right.
Okay. What about in a kill box scenario versus Striker 2?
The same.
Yeah.
They both want to come forward.
Yeah.
But that puts him in. I think that puts him into like game ending every turn. Like if you don't absolutely block the way to your caster, he has a much better chance of killing you than you killing him. I think so. Because if you can, without a kill box, you could in theory attrition to the point where he has to get involved and start helping. And in a kill box scenario, I think he gets the chance to play till turn 3 and then try and kill you. I think it's not noticeably worse, but I think there is a difference.
Yeah, but I still don't think it puts it into a bad matchup.
You don't think it does? You think it's still playable?
Oh, yeah, I think it's still playable.
Okay. I don't disagree.
Striker's one of those type of casters where you can put incidental damage on him. He starts becoming less effective because he can't.
Exactly. I do definitely agree with that.
So
if it was Kildar, put it down Stalker on.
Okay. Moving on to our next faction.
Okay.
Mina, starting with Harbinger, outside of a kill box. Sorry. You think so?
No.
I don't think really. The problem would be getting through the screen to her hard targets. Yeah, because she'll martyr the world.
Yeah, but she didn't.
she's also another caster.
You do, however, have Bloodbath. Will that actually get through it? Gains takedown. Maul's disabled melee attack. Cannot make tough rolls. Maul's boxed by a melee attack are removed from play.
Removed from play.
I don't believe she martyrs on Fox. I do believe it happens before that. I think it's on disabled.
Yeah, I think it's on disabled.
Yeah, so that won't get through martyrdom. It will stop Rupert Tough, however. So, I mean, that's a little bit of something. She'll at least have to do it every time.
Yeah.
You gotta get another caster that doesn't like to be shot.
True.
She uses their health pool. Anybody that uses their health pool as a resource doesn't like to be shot. And she's also a large base, which makes her a lot harder to hide.
Although she also...
And this list doesn't have shooting. It's not...
Right.
That's not obviously what you're going for when you're building this list.
Right.
So, I mean... Because Harbinger is generally going to be a troop span.
So, clearly something we should be looking at...
Then she can also camp.
Specifically looking at a list pairing, though, this is designed to catch most of the things that standard Legion list doesn't catch. So it might be a good thing that we're seeing a lot of the common matchups not necessarily so favorable for you, because that'd be something that you just build to your strengths on your other list.
Yeah.
So what do you think, though, on the general Harbinger matchup? You think it's good, bad, playable?
I think it's playable.
I think it's playable as well. It really comes down to positioning in the early turns.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think Errants will probably kill a lot of your screen pretty quickly, but that kind of happens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it would be nice if they got something done instead of just paying 10 points to start the game.
Hey, I paid 20 to.
That's true. When you apparently run all of your Ogre and forward and turn them around, it's not as good.
And she's typically not a heavy warjack.
Yeah, she usually doesn't. You'll commonly see Reckoner Avatar or at least a battle engine.
Yeah.
So being able to trivially remove that lets you focus more on the troops. And Scythians can make you take a lot of tough checks. Especially if she martyrs, she's going to have to let Bloodbath go off pretty much. Or actually, no, she probably self-sack that. Yeah, she'll let one is going to die. Well, that's guaranteed kill with your Scythian.
Yeah.
That's something, right? Yeah.
As long as you hit.
Right?
Yeah.
Jason's famous for rolling consecutive 4s. So
when I needed 7, and then 9 when I needed 4.
So putting that into the playable matchup, what do you think about the kill box version?
I think I'm at an advantage.
I think actually that one swings a little bit in your favor because she doesn't like being close.
She's a large base.
You at least get you into the realm of being able to threaten her, which changes the game a lot.
Yeah.
Because while she camps, she doesn't camp 10 usually.
Right, yeah. If she's camping 10, she's not playing the game, which makes you happy.
Right.
You go into kill all the dudes mode.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is playable to good.
Think about the only thing annoying would just be her feet turn. It's basically just sitting
Which
there.
your war spears can probably survive, but probably too much damage to actually take still.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't risk it because you're only dice off 2.
So,
if you really
stop
needed it,
everything but beast positioning that turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, you might have to really worry about scenario on that, but not sure. You do have a lot of beef to jam into zones.
Yeah.
Not a lot of it is unkillable, though. Alright, so I'm going to put both those into the playable realm. I think a lot of it comes down to player skill in that particular matchup.
I think the Deathstalkers would be so good in that against this, still.
Yeah, but if she martyrs one, it stops your chain. So you only get the one shot. That could... I mean, if you're on the outskirts, it's hard for her to keep everything in that little bubble. I mean, it's a big area, but...
I don't know. Menoth has a lot of annoying ways of telling you can't do what you want to do, so...
That's why I think
this happens.
It might even be better, though, because it lets you threaten with little investment. Because, like, a 9-point scything all of a sudden is threatening multiple heavies in one turn, in theory. If you could actually get them into a small area.
Yeah.
Do you have any way to stop Enliven in this list? Fiona the Lash? No, she wouldn't even be able to.
Stop Enliven on small base targets?
That's true. All those lesser warjacks that you could stop. Yeah, that's actually probably a bigger...
That's the Naga could charge it. Crit Shadow Mind, technically.
Yeah.
Is that on his bite or is it
That's his bite. That's why I said charge it.
I mean, in theory, it's a possible out if they get super brave. Like, they run up to gauge your caster, you crit Shadow Mind and kill it.
Yeah.
Good luck on that crit, by the way.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to put both these in probably the playable matchup. Okay, so moving on to Krios 1.
So,
Does it? Is that really, really bad?
I think Krios 1 is a very bad matchup. For a lot of everything in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't have enough infantry,
right.
and the war spears won't survive either.
And on his speed turnings.
He'll kill all the infantry, and you'll be down to 2 beasts and your caster real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so bad?
Yes.
Kill box?
Bad.
Worse.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually going to put bad and worse as these two ratings.
Kill box, that's just not. That's just terrible.
Yeah, that's just Krios, though. I don't understand how people don't consider him the strongest caster in Menoth. Like,
I actually like Krios.
he is such a complete package caster. Like, I think he makes Harbinger look subpar for synergy. Like, he does everything. Except end the game.
The biggest
himself.
Right.
He ends the game, but he doesn't do it by himself.
Hey,
The biggest problem that he doesn't do, that Harbinger does, is Harbinger makes weapons faster. Crusader's Call is amazingly important buff if you're comparing casters.
True.
I've been into the game with Krios.
Yeah, it's true. In battle boxes, he's quite scary. Alright, so moving on. This might actually be your first happy... Wow, you dropped that list. Fiora 2, commonly seen with 3 to 4 heavy jacks.
And Adjudicator.
Which does not benefit from Enliven.
Yeah.
And this is not a Defender's Horde caster, it's an Armor 18, right?
She is a base 15-17 with Escort, so she'll be
It's Adjudicator.
The Adjudicator's a base 19 with no armor buff.
19, so...
Yeah.
The Naga is there's a situation where the Naga is worthless.
The Naga is pretty much worthless in that one.
But
except if you're attacking Fiora, because it ignores Escort.
That's true.
So it doesn't do nothing, it's just not very useful. It does give you magical attacks on guns. So if you could actually cast it on all of your war spears to give them magical guns to shoot at said Adjudicator if it's... Why? Shaking your head? I'm just...
Fury 5 cotton.
Well, that's why I had a Succubus. Because she could pay for 2, Succubus a 3rd, and then the Naga can cast a 4th.
Yeah, but to shoot the Adjudicator?
Shoot whatever. I mean, just give an example.
You'd have to get your war spears to her. Because everything else doesn't have an armor on. Because Escort is only her.
No, well, it gives magical weapon.
It's just
you can't if he passages, you can't shoot.
It's just a good matchup to you because she has a bulk of her points fit in a small amount of
generally no screen. Your only screen is going to be zealots, and you basically force. I mean, they can't be damaged except by spells.
The best screen in the game.
Yeah, so you you run a war spear up and spines him in the back and spread into his unit, and you kill half his zealots off of 2 spine bursts. I mean, you probably can't cast 2 of them because she's like mentally handicapped, I guess. Eruption spines. Yeah.
What?
Flame Guard.
You probably won't see Flame Guard. They are
Fiora.
potential. Yeah, not with her. You'll see them with Harbinger probably at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe
You
with Krios.
see them with the Defender's Warcaster usually.
Yeah, because they can get to stupid good stats with that. But yeah, I do generally agree this is probably definitely the best matchup you'll see in Minoth. For a reason. The only thing you should be worried about is losing both sightings before you get there.
Yeah. Because they can shoot them off.
Yeah, but I mean, within reason, they have a limited range because you should be literally blitzing them with everything but your sightings.
Like in that matchup, you just run across.
Yeah, you just run directly at them, engage their heavies, and make them kill you with just the Judicator. Because Judicator actually has trouble getting not knocked down things off the table.
Yeah.
So you could just put them both in concealment. They're 13s. The rockets probably won't hit because you can't aim while you're engaged. It'll just be a race to get there, and I think you win that one. So good matchup here. Kill box, I don't think honestly changes hardly any, if at all. The only difference would be that Fiora is going to be farther up the table, which is not going to be a bad thing for you probably. Alright, so moving on. Crix, Lich 2. Fallen out of favor a little bit, but still very popular.
Right.
I don't think you built the list I don't think that list would be dropped against Crix, period.
Right. I don't disagree.
The list you have built won't deal with attrition casters very well, and that's basically what Lich is anymore. He doesn't have the semi-high assassination potential that he had before all of his feat nerfs. I don't think your list could play against Lich 2. I think he would trivially remove your screen.
Your screen would die to Biles pretty easily.
If he didn't trivially remove your War Beasts, his feet would. So, I don't think that's a matchup.
I don't think the War Spears have any hope against any of their units because they won't hit the witches and they won't hit.
I think the War Spears can actually do damage.
They would do some work, but they die instantly.
They still die to weapon masters.
Yeah, they become the martyrs upon martyrs as they kill 8 models and get removed from the table.
I think based on the whopping 2 games I played against Crix, that this list does not have the model count to play against.
It's not always model count, and
well, I mean, it doesn't have.
You don't have ranged attrition.
Doesn't have range. Doesn't have because you have to get into melee with them with this one, and they have a higher volume of attack, and you can't kill enough stuff fast enough. Not good.
All right.
So I haven't played against a lot of crits.
So we've got bad and bad.
Terrible.
That's all right. I mean, this is kind of out of
This is a
standard,
list, so it doesn't actually have to beat that many lists.
Right.
I mean, you see the same 3 Legion lists over and over again. Well, 2 really, for a reason, because they
Veil
work.
2 and
Yeah,
Saren.
Veil 2 and Saren's pretty common. So I mean, if you feel you can cover most of your matchups with one of those lists, then this is really just aimed at the things that you don't normally get to cover. So I mean, we're really just trying to catch all the oddball ones that Legion doesn't normally get. And we'll also see, I mean, also some of it is like, you kind of build against your meta. I mean, if no one around here plays Crix, then why would you build an anti-Crix list? I mean, it's within reason you shouldn't tailor against your opponents, but I mean, when you're going to a tournament, of the 30 possible people that'll show up, you don't know of a single one that plays minions. Why would you plan for Rask? I mean, it just makes sense. So, moving on, Denny 1. Playing out in my head.
We don't really actually have to go through all the Crix casters, in my opinion.
I
I think the way Crix plays, this list just doesn't play against them.
Right. The only one you'd probably be happy against is maybe like a random Scar 2 list.
And even that's probably bad.
Even that's still probably not good. But, I mean, it's better than this.
The death check kills things.
Yes. Denny 1 probably
death
just
check
murders
that
your
you
entire
can't
army.
Remove is a problem.
Alright, so we got
So
bad
maybe
again.
Sturgis.
And let me guess, I'm going to assume we're still going with bad for Scar 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, at least in Scar 1 you'd be able to kill her Arm 20 troops.
That's true.
And then die horribly to them.
That's true too.
Alright, so this one might actually be interesting as we talk about Butcher 3 in Khador. The common has been to see 2 units of Black Dragons, which will commonly go to Arm 22 on their mini-feat turn.
Right.
You'd actually be able to deal with those pretty decently, I think.
You would. The question's going to be against Butchers if you can get him to commit without being able to kill both of your heavies.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's all positioning, but the question is, can you get him to commit for one heavy? I don't know that a player will.
I mean, I think it really comes down to who wins the attrition war without casters getting too involved.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of tough or anything in there, so
Like
It's
Scythians,
all just...
if you parasite one of the units, they're going to go down to anything that hits them at that point. Arm 19's okay, but I mean, anything in
And
this list
there's a
hits him.
situation where Sniper on Deathstalkers just kills
Yeah, I mean,
4 models a turn.
you shouldn't have any problem with the Black Dragons. They should never really be a threat. Eruption of Spines, especially chaining off of one of your own models, potentially, should be able to clear up a lot of like his Widowmakers and support staff, especially with boost. And then moving on to Butcher and his battle group. He'll probably have 1 heavy, likely, but people have been running him with 3 cheap heavies, and you can deal with those too.
But it's a situation where if you put the -5 or +5 to your damage onto him, then your Scythian will kill.
It becomes an issue of, can I just knock you down? Which seems pretty, because knocking him down makes all your guns are able to hit all of a sudden. You don't gotta worry about missing. The feat helps with that a lot, though. I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
you're able to save the
down's
feat.
not as big a deal as long as you save the feat for that moment in the game.
And if it comes down to it, the Naga being a medium base can actually slam one of your own models into Butcher, as long as, like, slam a War Spear into Butcher, knock him down, and it just solves all your problems right there. Or just walks up and headbutts him himself.
He
Oh,
might
it's
be
a serpent, that's
Serpentine,
right.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I was gonna say.
That's a good point. I know he's Serpentine, so yeah, maybe headbutt him then. Can he headbutt? Let's see.
I think it's just slams.
Serpentine cannot make slam, trample, power attacks, cannot be knocked down. Yeah, so just walk up and headbutt him if he gets that close to you.
Yeah.
Or crit shadow bind him. Either one. Hey, when you're rolling 4 dice to hit, critting is not that uncommon.
Well, if that's the case, then just shoot him with the Knight's Venom. Get that crit and it's 4 dice damage.
Okay. Moving on. I think this is honestly your matchup to lose. I think of all the Khador matchups you'll see, with Khador being the high defense spam list, I think this is actually a better matchup for you. I'm going to put down good in a non-killbox scenario. What do you think about a killbox scenario?
I think it becomes worse.
I think it becomes a playable matchup at that point, and it's really just whoever comes out as a better player just takes the game. Okay, so moving on, we've got Sorsha 2. She's commonly more high defense.
I think that's a bad matchup. I think
It puts your War Spears...
I think shooting Winter Guard are way too hard for you to remove at that point, and they will remove your screen unit.
Eruption of Spines would be a really big player in this matchup.
But her problem of only being able to do it once a turn sucks.
Only be able to do it once a turn, but the feat does help. If you actually get a decent number of guys delivered, the feat can actually get you to the realm of killing things versus not. Because Defense 17, obviously, I mean, you're going to be very limited on number of attacks that actually do anything, but feat turn with Threshers, if they all moved into CRA off of your other beast or something, could potentially get you into a playable matchup.
I think it's a lot more playable if Lylyth has more guns to use with. I mean, I think that really counters what Sorsha tries to do.
Especially when you're going to see 12 to 15 guys.
Deathstalkers also, I believe, are what, right? 8? They aim to aim 10?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that puts you into the realm of being able to kill things, too.
Right.
And not everything in Sorsha 2's list is... didn't even think about that. You, Wraith Bane one of your Scythians, he goes in their defense 14. Like, that's a big difference, too. I didn't even think about that. You could also potentially Wraith Bane your Deathstalkers, so that they're basically auto-killing, too, every turn. Just food for thought, I guess. I'm gonna put that in the playable matchup. I play a lot of Sorsha, too, and I don't think I'd be happy particularly about this matchup.
I just feel like she could be below the 2 threats up off the board. I guess there's more than 2 threats. There really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the War Spears at that
Considering
point.
if you get the buffs on...
I've seen War Spears with just prey kills a conquest, so I mean, I'm not too worried about one with Parasite and Harm doing it, so.
Right.
Okay, so moving on, we've got the Killbox version. Does anyone think there's a difference there? I don't think so. I don't think either of you rather prefer it. Irusk 1, I think we're going to just all agree that the high defense spam's probably not the best. So, because Irusk will commonly not play anything other than just the 1 heavy. And that's only because they don't have lights.
I think you get out attrition by high defense spam.
Mm-hmm. Especially with that particular caster. Moving on to Mercs, we've got Gorton. Earthbreaker, probably some Chaos Assassins under solid ground.
I don't think that's that bad.
I don't necessarily think
that's actually good. That's actually Gorton. I think Gorton or I think Durgan's, but yeah, Gorton I think is a very easily playable matchup because you can actually get to the Earthbreaker and kill it pretty easily.
I agree. I think that his screen will disappear pretty quickly. I mean, Chaosies are good, but they have an approach. Like, you'll walk up, you'll Spines, you'll shoot with some Deathstalkers. They're still only defense 14.
You'll make your 1 hole that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since your list is mostly melee, the stealth of Chaosies isn't that scary. You'll make a hole, you'll get there, I think. It'll really just be up to, does the feat kill your entire army or get your caster assassinated?
Yeah.
If you put her directly behind a wall, it reduces where he can kill her from. And if you kill the Earthbreaker, it pretty much removes the major threat. So I think that's actually a good matchup. In Killbox, I don't think it changes because he's so slow.
Yeah.
Moving on, Damiano. Wait, Bart. Let's go Bart first. Bart Galleon, you're going to ignore the batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
It does shoot better. You're going to have a way to protect the Scythians from drags, which isn't impossible if you just put some decently tough things in front of them.
I don't think it's a good matchup.
I don't think it's good. Do you think it's playable?
It's playable. I think you're going to end up in a situation where you trade a Scythian and hopefully your other Scythian can kill it.
Do you think the War Spears are a good enough threat? You're probably going to be staring at Nis Hunters and Gun Mages.
That's difficult. When you have that much shooting against a mostly melee force, as I know from playing Crix, it's
Not always bueno.
not optimal.
I do think that you have the option to kill his stuff, which is always good, but I do agree that I think he would mostly shoot this list off the table. This would be obviously one of the, if you have a Snapjaw on the table, it changes dramatically. I'll put it in the playable. I think it really matters on if he can pull off a drag at any point during the game.
I think he should be able to because he's a lot longer range.
Yeah.
There's usually walking 15 inches.
Okay. Trying to wrap.
Boosted auto pulls because.
Moving on to Veil 2. We're getting into the mirror match kind of a little bit here. What do you think, Jason?
I don't think it's bad.
You don't think so? You are staring at a lot of heavies, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It's
a lot of heavies, but I don't think it's bad.
You don't think it's bad?
No.
I think it's scary on the turn that you
I think on her
go for her heavies because
Oh well, yeah.
when she counterfeats and
kills on.
when she kills and counterfeits and tries to kill your caster,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
if you are only camping one, she'll kill you. I think.
Yeah. We got the Gobbers. Does that change at all? If you can put Cloud directly in front of her.
If you can put it directly in front of her, it does. If she's just...
Is this a matchup where she could potentially bushwhack away after doing her job? Or do you think...
Possibly. I think that might leave your beast out, hanging out to dry.
Maybe. Well, the Shepherds...
Possibly. Well, that's the thing, is if your Shepherds are your play...
Let's be honest, I mean,
know that.
True. If you get to the point where you've unleashed your trick and you've thrown the trap at his army and sent out the Scythians to do their job... If they frenzy next turn, that's not really a terrible thing. I mean, obviously it's not optimal by far, but I mean, you're still on the table and you've taken out what they need to take out.
Well, that, and I think the
I'm not even worried
Warspirits
about frenzy.
can take a heavy and swordsman. You get a couple of them too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of
It's like a Legion Heavy under your feet. If you get Parasite on their guy, like 2 or 3 swordsmen can just take out a beast, just straight
even
up.
without Parasite, I think the War Spirits could take down a heavy. Scythians could take down a heavy.
Especially with Prey.
I think you would need Parasite for the swordsman to reliably take down a heavy.
Yeah, that puts them to a 14. Your dice off 3, but you're hitting under feet.
How 11 Weapon Masters, if you get about 5 there, if they all hit, you're taking heavies out lots of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're in theory transforming into POW 14s. Like, they hit harder than Doom Reavers at that point, just landing with Parasite.
Yeah,
or
I
if
don't
a
think
harm,
it's
they
bad.
basically just
I think
go to
it's playable.
Doom Reavers. Yeah.
I don't think it's optimal.
Okay, we'll put that under a playable.
I just don't know.
What do you think, Max? You don't think it's a good... Do you think it's just straight up bad?
I think it's pretty bad.
Veil 2?
Icy Grip,
No charging, right?
or running or special attacks.
Is it both? I thought it was just one or the other. Is
You
it
cannot run or make special attacks.
no running? So you can still charge.
Yeah.
You can't combo strike, basically. It'd be bad for, like,
It'd be
Hex
really
Hunters.
bad for your screen, though.
minus 2 defense. He's still got to get there and kill him. I mean, the point of a stream is they're numerous.
That's
Okay.
probably playable.
I don't think Killbox changes this at all. Or do you think it threatens the feed assassination more?
I don't know. I don't think Feed Assassination is actually that strong against Warlocks.
Okay. I do agree that this next matchup's probably pretty bad, though. Saren.
Terrible.
I think this is pretty much the worst matchup you can see in Legion.
Because you have to survive through that.
And you don't have enough.
Well, your threat ranges are the same, so it would be one hell of a battle for you pulled off with losing a turn.
Yeah.
So I think
the
it's
loss-
just bad.
I think her feet turned to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Killbox did not make it.
Mm-hmm. Thagrosh 1 probably be a good matchup for you.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't run a lot of ranged either, and your stuff hits harder than his does.
Yeah.
So you should pretty much trade up in, I would assume, most of the situations. Alright.
Maybe, yeah. It's definitely playable,
Mm-hmm.
but his Death Shroud buff and being a midline caster does swing attrition a lot.
Yeah. But you do put the assassination threat on the table. I think it's a good matchup. This is all Furycraft anyway. I mean, we could be wrong on all of these. This one I actually think is optimistic. Morvana 2, because you've got 2 Scythians for takedown.
Remove from play.
Mm-hmm.
It's still an issue of, can you figure out how to get the stalkers before they get you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not
Stalkers,
completely...
right, Stalkers, with her feet on the table, anything in your army can kill the Stalkers as long as they're alive to tell the story. I mean, so it'd be, do you lose your whole army before you can kill the majority of hers?
Rerolls are a bitch.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think we probably put this in the playable realm.
I think it's playable. It's just a situation where if you don't get her low on health, or if she's able to keep healing herself back up with Carnivore, that eventually she probably out-attritions you because you... Yeah, it depends.
Mm.
If you can kill a lot of stuff with the Scythians, then she can't out-attrition you as easily.
Right.
But
it puts the, what are they called? This Skinwalkers into a whole different unusable category until you can get rid of the Scythians. Yeah, you can't put them everywhere though, so I mean, they're gonna get some stuff back, so I think it's a playable matchup. I don't think it changes at all in Killbox.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't see a lot more Morvana 2 at our store, it's kind of
I'll play against Circle.
true.
Ever.
Alright, moving on. Kruger 2 is kind of like a Haley 2 concept, he's very board
Well, that
controlling.
sucks.
Yeah, it's probably not the best. Gosh, I actually don't have any idea how that would go.
Probably poorly. If he plays like...
Well, his
Haley
feet
2,
pushes everything away, and you get a speed debuff, so he's got that kind of harbinger board control for a turn. He's usually pretty heavy on snare. He's got telekinesis as well, just like Haley does.
Does he have a lot of shooting?
He does a lot of, like,
Can he
Can your Scythians backwards is nasty.
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, because if he can push you
Stumbling
back,
out.
give you speed debuff. Because your object is to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Gives him the Alpha Strike too.
Yeah, it gives him the Alpha Strike, and it can buy him an extra turn to do it.
Yeah, it's probably bad.
It doesn't count.
It's not sounding optimistic. Alright, moving on to Chromac. Chromac
Optimal.
is... Really?
Oh, I don't know.
Chromac usually runs very heavy-centric. He usually runs Gedrex, Gedrex and 2 Stalkers.
Okay.
With a Gorax in the back to Primal. It would really just be a threat thing, because he has Warpath, so he can get free 3-inch moves.
Yeah.
Which is kind of iffy. It's mainly a positioning battle, I feel. Good side being that he plays high defense, low armor heavies. So, I mean, if you can get there, and you've got your feet, I think you kill everything. It's just if you can get there. He can also threaten assassination pretty well, because he's got a kind of janky angle charge. He doesn't hit super hard, but he makes a lot of attacks, which is bad for Warlocks. It feeds back all of his fury after he generates his fury. So he's like, I'm going to spend 7. I'll feed, get back 7, go again.
Wow.
And his POW goes up after he feeds, so he turns into a beast. That being said, I do think this is actually a good matchup for you. Because he's playing high defense, low armor heavies. It's just threat ranges. And you have a lot of threats. I don't think it would matter if it's kill box, because both of you are going to be inside the kill box regardless.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. That should be the end of Circle. Grim 2 is a gunline list with basically 1 or 2 war beasts. You'll probably see Impaler Bomber, if not Double Bomber.
No, that sounds terrible.
And lots of infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen with this list. And his feet give snipe to his entire army.
Shut up.
And +2 to hit if you're within... He gives his entire army mark target.
Why would somebody ever create a feat?
And mark target. Okay, moving on. Doomshaper 1 Runes of War is a board control list with lots of heavies. I think this is actually interesting because your Scythians with the takedown Animus, you can actually get through his Rune Shapers. I don't know if you could kill the heavies even with this list because he has Banishing Ward, so you can't cast spells at the target of his choice. So he'll Banishing Ward Mulg and make Mulg arm 23 behind a wall.
Well, Mulg's involved.
Mulg's involved is probably going badly. Yeah,
And
I
you're probably going to have warders with those.
Well, would actually
You can't take warders in that list. It's Runes of War.
Oh, okay.
You'll only see Doomshaper on Runes of War. You'll see warders in other lists for sure, but
You would ignore the transmuting and stuff.
that's true. Actually, you don't. because the Animus gives you Elemental Communion, which is a natural ability on a card, and that gives you the +2 armor. So it's like a spell that gives you Unyielding. The spell doesn't give you armor, it gives you Unyielding, and Unyielding gives you armor. It's like a loophole.
Yes.
And the Creel Stone's not a spell.
It doesn't sound good.
I think this is one of the armor lists that would actually be bad.
Yeah.
I think this is a bad matchup for you. Actually, I'll put it into playable, because you actually you can get rid of Banishing Ward, or at least focus down the things that aren't Banishing Warded.
Mm-hmm.
You can greatly reduce his numbers. And Mold can't kill the entire world by himself.
I don't believe that.
Actually, I said that out loud, and it sounded a lot worse than it did in my head.
Yeah,
I'm going to put that in the bag.
I've been on the other side of Mold.
That was, what, Thursday that happened? Alright, moving on. Madrak 2, I'm just going to put bad, because he's basically just an angry person. He's going to play literally 50 dudes, and they're all going to be weapon masters. And they all get an extra Thresher attack on his feet. That's just bad for you.
It
Sounds terrible. Hexeris 2 in Scorn.
optimal.
Really?
Well, yeah, okay, we have it.
Yeah, the guy we have played has been playing for like a month.
Yeah. So optimal. No.
He's actually probably the closest Scorn has to a general caster that does everything. So, what do you think, Max, as our resident pro Scorn player?
Right.
He's going to the WTC with Scorn.
Right.
He's played easily 4 games with them. Thoughts? You at least know what he does.
It's also a rep player, so.
That's true. Yes.
I think it's like, if
I do
not,
too.
a good matchup.
I think he's going to have a lot of good infantry on the table that he supports decently well, and he removes infantry well, but he doesn't deal with War Spears particularly well. At least not till the feat goes off, and then he'll probably kill the War Spears pretty easy.
What's his feat?
Every warrior model that's dead, he gets a token for. And I'm thinking of the wrong caster, aren't I? His feat is you get to pull
He gets
rage.
to go back up to 7 Fury again.
One of those again goes back to full resource points.
Yeah.
He can pull it from your beasts, though.
Yeah, so he can drain your fury.
Oh, yeah, because... Yeah.
So you're gonna totally beat him by not having any on the table.
Alright.
Okay. I think. What do you think? Do you think it's good for him, good for Jayson, or playable?
Playable.
I think it's playable. I think that's just this. Whoever plays the matchup better can win that one, I think.
I don't think it's necessarily a noticeable advantage either way, as well.
He'll kill his Arc Node, or he'll only get his Arc Node 1 turn.
Zal. This is probably more on the bad side.
Right.
More infantry, less
infantry,
heavies. Right? Yeah. He's gonna like Immortals, and his last stand of dudes can kill pretty much anything they swing at.
Last stand on feet. One guy might kill his thing.
True. Yeah. So, that's probably bad. Just because numerous guys that can all kill your targets. Xerxes. This is actually interesting. It's almost kind of what we were thinking of when we built the list.
Yeah.
But he does it pretty fucking well. So you're going to be looking at Satradi with Defender's Ward.
Right.
That's where your Blessed comes in.
Yeah.
The fact that they are going to be Shield Wall troops puts them into the spot where he might not even Shield Wall at risk of the Scythians just killing a unit at a time. The Tiberian you'll most likely see in that matchup. You'll see probably a Bronze Back, maybe a Gladiator. So lots of big scary dudes. It's kind of what you're designed to kill, and he doesn't have a lot of it.
It's a very slow list.
It is a very slow list.
I would hope that it's playable. Since
This is literally what we designed.
yeah, since this is what it's designed.
I think you could easily suicide in the War Spears to take out the Satradi, or if not take them out, at least hurt them really bad.
Yeah.
Or even a Beast. I think you have enough threat to spread it out and force him to commit and then take out something and make him kill it. And just basically feed things in as you kill things at your leisure. I think this is a good matchup for you.
Yeah, I know in personal experience, War Spears versus Synthesizing, War Spears do pretty well.
Moving on, we're almost done here. We got Rask. This is the minion stuff. Rask.
Well, that's Minions, so that's a podcast.
All right, and we'll be out here in a tight 15. Rask runs a lot of Gators, which is kind of a good thing. The bad thing is his feat takes a lot of momentum away from you because you can only charge things you're within 5 inches of.
Okay.
But you can walk up and kill him.
Okay. I was going to say that
Gators do hit reasonably hard. Like, Gators will kill heavies. Like, you gotta be semi-reasonable. But, I mean, you have enough of a screen, I think, or you could slow them down to where you just get to kill a bunch of Gators. I think that's probably pretty much, I only have Rask and Maylock down for minions because that's the only two I've ever seen at a tournament, and that's why I hear people take. I do know a minion player that's pretty good, but he pretty much just takes those. You don't see them, or?
I've never seen them.
Yeah, I don't think you have. They basically take a bunch of multi-wound infantry.
Packing them up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was like, dude, this game. He's just like shoveling his bottles into a box.
I've seen this.
All right. I think these are
a lot of people own them.
Right.
But
because the two lists you're going to be looking at, one of them makes his dudes undead and gives them armor buffs.
Right.
Which is kind of what we specifically made this to beat. I'm not saying it's going to be great at it, but you should be able to kill a lot of stuff.
Should be playable.
War Spears should pretty much murder Gatorman with Parasite and harm on them. So, I mean, you take out a unit, he spends a unit to kill your War Spears, and then you send in the Scythian to kill that unit, and then he's down to one unit of Gators. Like, obviously it's more complicated than that, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a piece trade that you'll end up with way more pieces.
So it's playable, it just depends on who.
No, I think it's good. You have to mess up to lose that game.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously this is assuming you've played the list enough to know how it works.
Right.
We just built this today, so... Alright, well, that actually ends our surprisingly long theory crafting session. Moving on to our next segment. What do you think you might possibly pair this list with? Not that we're going to make this list right now, but Krios 1. That's a strong Iron Gauntlet.
Playing
pairing.
hardcore, Iron Gauntlet.
Krios 1, best caster ever. Alright.
I don't know. Lylyth 2.
I think Lylyth 2 would be a very good one, because you'd catch a lot of people staring at your Lylyth 2 list, and they'd go, oh, Lylyth 1. Well, he's obviously playing Lylyth 2 as his main. And then they'll be so afraid of the top of 2 assassination, usually they'll be playing what's good against that, which will leave this open. They'll play tanky, brickish casters
And I
to
think
survive.
Lylyth 2 is really good against Grix, and really good against Signar, which were probably the two worst matchups for that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go through it real quick as far as who's good against what. The Signar matchups, we have playable bad good, so kind of mix, but generally not good. Against Menoth, we have about the same, not good. Very bad versus Krix. Khador looks about the same as the other ones. Pretty much all the Warmachine ones were slightly below average on what you want to see.
Right.
Which is...
It's fairly common because they don't run near as many.
Yeah, they don't run as many
With the
heavies.
exception of like Signar or Mina.
Yeah, Minions obviously was good, but I mean everyone's good against Minions. So, Trolls were actually surprisingly bad for you.
Yeah.
Every one of the common matchups we thought you would be likely to see, you were bad against. So, Plan 1, dodge.
Right.
All right.
What is it? Dodge.
The 5 Ds of dodgeball: tip, duck, dive, dip, and dodge.
Something like that. What was it?
I think I actually.
I think a little too, but she could eventually. Yeah, I think she's good as well.
I think Lylyth 2 would be surprisingly good. That also give you a little bit of a theme. I mean,
Lylyth.
yeah, Lylyth.
I mean, theme's not being important at all.
I like theme. Anyway.
hey, I like these.
So Lylyth would be good, possibly a Saren. That unfortunately would give you 2 heavy melee lists. With the Lylyth, you get 1 heavy range, 1 heavy melee, maybe a Veil. But yeah, so just probably the more generalist list you see. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up episode 1. So this has been Brandon,
Max.
Jayson.
Jeremy.
also known as Token. All right. Thank you for listening to Learn to Wargame. You can find us online at l2wg.com. Facebook, twitch.tv, YouTube, or Google+, and most importantly, l2wg.com for all of our content. Thank you. You don't have
It's all shredders, actually.
Okay, so we're going to skip Jeremy's list.
No, I'm serious. Why would you not want all shredders?
Is it Lylyth 1 with a lot of shredders?
Yes.
Why is that good?
Does it have Black Frost
Why does she
shards?
come with like 12 of them?
She doesn't!
They don't need to boost that hit to hit that one turn.
We're recording, right? Yeah. Okay. I really would like timestamps, so I'm going to start it.
I'd really like a cigarette right now, and I quit smoking.
I'd really like to punch Brandon in the face.
Just punch him in the tank.
That's a little too personal there.
Okay.
I'm not
Tank all pain.
I'm not ready to go there quite yet. I've only known him for, 6 years now?
Well,
You guys aren't on tank level.
probably actually
That's what
closer
you're
to 10.
Mm,
When Battlezone closed?
2006, 7?
Yeah, I started going there like 2 years before it closed.
Oh, God, I've known you that long.
What if you don't do clunk and miss every time?
I'm gonna go commit suicide now.
Are you bad?
Is it just granted or is it star action?
The star action.
You're bad. That's the term of bad. Are they speed 7? They're 6, right? Okay.
Okay, I did something else besides War Room. Oh, it came back up. Okay.
Okay. Whew, whew. Just for everyone listening, if this ever actually gets to print, I guess, we're talking about the period in which there were 3 War Room updates in 4 days, and all of them were more buggy than the last.
Mine's working fine.
Mhm.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so everybody's good with the script. Are you ready?
What
There's a
script?
There's a script. I'm
I'm-
going to vaguely direct us through this.
I'm
Okay.
full on off script.
Let me call Ryan on Skype.
You might not
What
be
did he
able to
say?
do
Did he
that.
say love letter just not done?
No.
Yeah.
But he's not on Skype, so I guess that's a no. Glad we spent that time.
Before you do that, Brandon.
You are literally directly between me and the booze. Why would I go get you alcohol?
Because you're...
You want to be a nice guy?
I'm going to give you all root beer. There's literally like a bunch of shit in my way.
Alright.
Fine, I'll drink all your root beer.
Okay.
Depth 14, speed 7, strength 12. I'm reading the stat card.
You're way off script.
We are pretty much
All right.
off script. Everybody ready for reals?
Really? You're doing a lot of editing on this, right?
That's pretty much true.
No.
No, it's gonna be straight raw.
That's going to be our signature. No
Raw,
fucking
it's
editing.
No editing at all. Do we
What
even
are
have
you
a name
gonna
for
call it,
this?
raw dogging?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spoken Moken.
I learned it.
Oh, I
You're-
got it in.
We're not calling it. I will redub over that of I'm Jameson every single fucking time.
I'm Jameson.
Alright.
Shut your mouth, Brandon.
Alright, let me pull this up.
Dude, what's this list doing here? Tab. Whenever I get my wrong eye snapshot back from Ryan,
Ryan.
love letter over there.
I thought it was Warmachine, Ryan.
We're trying.
I think love letter. Good.
What are you gonna do? Put wrong eye snapshot on this list?
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty excited about this.
I feel like that's one of the downsides is that she doesn't have a way to protect the Seraph. Or what the fuck am I talking about? Scythian.
The Scythian.
Scythian
On the way in.
on the way.
You
in.
know they have spiny growth in the faction.
That's 10 fucking points.
Yeah.
Wrong eye and
Oh.
snapshot is
No.
12.
No.
If you
And
get spiny
can't
growth.
Cast it.
Spiny growth.
That's true, actually.
11 points.
Oh yeah,
He's
even
11.
fucking
11.
worse.
So what's...
I mean, he's okay.
Oh, so you're saying use wrong eye, or use snapshot as the
No, he just gets there.
Right, yeah, he's the
He is
beater.
100
Yeah.
He's not gonna one round it.
Mm.
We can go with that.
Alright, well let's say this
Let's
for the
hope
cast.
You're actually damaging it on the way.
This
in.
is the cast, Brandon.
Yeah, this is the cast. Alright, do you want to actually restart?
No, good.
Alright, well, I wanted
Why
to
is-
sync up to you so I could get
Why is Wrong Eye
timestamps.
Snapshot good and crits? Yeah, he can't
Okay.
wherever he wants, pretty much.
Have you not started
And he's
yet?
no, it's started.
Okay.
Free heavy that doesn't cost him.
Okay.
Are you ready now, Brandon? Can we get on script?
I am ready now.
What was the description?
Oh, is number lock off? Number lock's off, that's why I can't scroll left.
What happened?